Hello, hello. This is Annabelle and Sarah navigating the shift. Welcome back. We've had a week off while I was getting my place painted. You can see here. So we've got lots of news. Thank you. We have lots of news to catch up on now. Heaps of it. Yeah. So we'll just run through some headlines to give a kind of an overall view of what's going on in the world. Even though most of it is, in fact, centered around America, as usual. So, first of all, the Italian Mafia has been tackled in Italy, as well as only like yesterday or today, the Gambino family in New York, major gangsters apparently. They've had arrests and things happen there, so the police are congratulating themselves, and there's something really major going on there we'll have to keep an eye out for. Christine Lagarde, who is the head of IMF, International Monetary Fund, has just resigned. Chuck Schumer as well. There's a video of him saying that he is a guardian of Israel and this is his duty, which is rather mind-boggling. I'll give you the link to that one. JP Morgan container ship was discovered with $1 billion worth of cocaine, 39,000 pounds of cocaine on it. So that's something. The ex-president of Peru, Alejandro Toledo, was arrested. That was 2 days ago, I think. And Ted Cruz did a recent hearing where an expert told him that the tools that Google are using has possibly swayed the voters between 2 and 10 million voters in heading away from Trump during the elections because of what they were doing and the search results that they were providing and that kind of stuff. And Ted Cruz had also pointed out that Alphabet, which is written as the parent company of Google, though it was actually created after Google, so go figure that one. How can it be the parent? Was
adopted.
Adopted, indeed. Was the major
Google?
Yeah, was the major contributor to the Hillary Clinton campaign during that election. So it's so obvious as to what's going on. So yeah, more to watch there.
Trump had a media summit recently where he brought in a lot of people that both you and I follow, and I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this also might follow either on Twitter or Instagram or watch them on YouTube. A lot of people were in and talking about how they'd been their social media and other accounts had been demonetized, that things had been. I mean, I looked at Trump's Twitter, and he had just tweeted one of those racist things about the who was it? It was
immigrants, really.
AOC, no.
Oh, AOC?
Yeah. The I can't remember her name, the congresswoman. But at any rate, and I watched the number of likes and the number of retweets go 69,500, 69.5, 74.2, 69.5.
Oh.
74.3, 69.5. Both of them, up and down. It was so blatantly manipulated.
Wow.
Amazing. Oh, goodness. So if you follow him on Twitter, go watch when he puts that one in. I wonder if you'll still see them doing it.
Yeah. So because we had talked about that a few episodes back, this manipulation that's going on, whereas these people, they don't have editorial rights if they are not a publisher. They put themselves out as a platform, unbiased platform, but they're not. They're totally biased. And so you must hear that plane.
Folks. No, I don't. Don't worry about it. It is what it is. Life happens.
Yeah.
But
okay.
It's all what's important to take from all this is the background nonsense, censorship, and control is being exposed now.
Very clear.
And the truth is coming out just all over the place, not just in the media, not just about the pedophiles that are in positions of power and the elite, whatever you want to call them. It's all coming out. And like we said, Nexium was like the first domino to fall, and is just boom, spreading out, and it's just going to keep happening. And it's shocking. A lot of people have no idea that all of this is going on. There's a whole lot of collective consciousness, fear, and shock going on right now. So, from your own personal point of view, just go, whoa. If you're feeling that, use one of my questions. Is this fear? Is this emotion? Is this energy? Is this mine? Is this mine? And usually you'll find it just ease up a little bit if it's not yours. So stay conscious on top of that.
Especially for empaths.
Big time. Yes, especially for empaths.
Well, those are the main headlines that I've got down here. I think the most important thing we've got to talk about is the Epstein case, which appears for most people to be like some rich dude who got away with it in 2007, and now he's back into trial right now. And, so what? But in fact, his connections are extraordinary. They reach all around many different countries, to people in music, in movies, in government, in royalty, and country leaders, in the Justice Department, in just so many influential places. I think we really need to put a little bit of time into this, just a little bit, so people can see how important this is.
It really is, yes. The one of the things that's come up is that when he had his previous trial, and he ended up just getting a little over a year in arrest, but he could go out and work 12 hours a day. Slap on the wrist, nothing for what he's done. And the attorney there was this Alex Acosta, who is just now, because of this scandal, resigned from his position as Secretary of Labor under Trump. But one of the things that came out was, as they were accusing him of this, he said, he was told during his confirmation hearings, it came out, he said, I was told that Epstein was above my pay grade and that he was intelligent and leave it alone. So we're not just looking at people who are having sex with teenage girls. We're talking about espionage. We're talking about spies here. There's something more going on. And then there's also the question of who is he a spy for? He has a lot of connections with people who are Mossad. His ex-girlfriend, who looks like is definitely maybe his madam, probably his handler, whose name looks like Ghislaine Maxwell, but evidently it's pronounced Ghislaine Maxwell.
So she's English.
Robert. She's English. Father was Robert Maxwell. He was in the parliament. There was a whole lot of Mossad stuff coming up around him. He died mysteriously.
Found drowned.
They think he was a double or triple agent. He was out on his boat and just suddenly died. Fell over and died out in sea. So it's a lot bigger, and it's entrapping. So it's bringing so many people in that the deep state is trying desperately to stop this from happening.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the quickest way to stop it would be to knock Epstein off, and it's possible that power cut that happened in New York had something to do with it. Yes. But then there were power cuts in 2 other places as well. So we don't know if they're meant to be just a distraction from what's going on. You'll see that if you look at the mainstream media, they're not focused on this court case. It's just another piece of news. It's in there, but it's just another piece of news. And that, oh, look, there's far more interesting things. Oh, look, Trump's been called a racist. Woohoo! And we'll put that up on front. Really? Seriously?
Well, the other thing, way media is focusing on this is Trump's connections with Epstein.
Oh, yes.
And totally ignoring some of the other players. They're saying, oh, Trump went to the island. And the truth is, when we look, they actually have released Epstein's flight logs, and Trump flew once from New York to Atlanta or something. He hitched a ride with Epstein's brother on one of Epstein's planes. That's really different than what happened with Bill Clinton, who went out to the island several times, and the list was,
Kevin
Bill
Spacey,
Kevin Spacey, right, and females and males and things like that.
Unnamed ones.
Unnamed ones. And recent videos have come out about Epstein's island called Little St. James in the Virgin Islands. And there's videos of it showing a weird temple and underground tunnels.
Really crazy.
Really, really weird stuff. That's
so this is where the public can make such a big difference, because it's not just public investigating, right? This is where technology has been used to advantage, even if people like Google and the social media are trying to cut us off from this information, we can still find it through other ways. There are other browsers we can use, other search engines. And you get something like this with the island. Little St. James is also, we're calling it Epstein Island, is what many people call it. Is that
Orgy Island or Pedo Island? Evidently, the locals call it that.
Yeah, that's it. They can. Somebody got a drone. Someone got a drone and went out there and did a whole tour of it, and then posted it publicly. So there is a lot less that you can hide when people can get their own drones out there to take a look.
Exactly.
Or you can talk to someone in the area and say what's going on, and they can report back on what's going on. You will never be blinded again by what the media decide to put forward as their own agenda. This is something that's really helpful to us. And also, like the flight logs being posted publicly by FBI, as well as the Nikola Tesla stuff. I don't know how often they've done that before. I've never had it drawn to my attention that, by the way, here's some files that FBI is posting publicly. That just seems different to me. I don't know if that's normal.
A little bit odd.
Yeah, but the fact that these flight logs are put straight out, you can get online, we'll give you the link, you can read all of them, all the flight logs. It's only for a 3-year period, and it was way back 2002 to 2005, I think. So what's been happening since then for another 14 years is not being posted at the moment. But I wonder where those flight logs are. That'd be interesting. But it's available for everybody. So if Clinton says, I've never done anything like that.
I've only been on it 4 times. Now you've flown with them 26 times. We have the flight logs. Just in that period of time.
Just in that period. Yeah, and you've been there since.
They weren't all, like with Trump and so many other people, they weren't all going out to that particular island.
You can
and
see
even
that,
if you did go out to that island, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're involved in it. So don't get too crazy with it. But
it's
if
still
you're going there a lot, and there's a picture that's been going around for a while of Clinton supposedly on Epstein's plane with his arm around a young woman who is one of the people who has accused Epstein of underage rape, basically. His little scheme to bring in teenage girls, young girls, and have them come up and give him a massage and other things.
That's it.
And
plenty of other things. So the mixture of possibilities here, like, you know, if you put forward the worst possible scenario, people are going to go, that's ridiculous, that cannot be possible.
That's not possible.
I thought this last girl was reporting that he wanted massages and he wanted to do, you know, stuff to her. So that's not the same as, you know, eating children or sacrificing children. Right. I know. There seems to be a variety of things that this guy was into. What he was into personally may not have been anywhere near as wicked as the things that he offered other people. But I'm kind of wondering if the island is more for, free for all. Let me invite you and you can play here and do whatever you want to do, free from the arms of the law. However, every room is wired for video and sound, and that makes his little library of extraordinary videos and sound files that he can use that's how he's been earning his money, just collecting money once a year. I won't release this if you pay me money each year.
There is a huge amount of information out there. People saying, we have no idea how this guy's made any money. He was a math teacher.
Yeah.
He didn't even finish his college degree. He was a math teacher. And then he got picked up by a guy named Les Wexner, who is the owner of
Victoria's
L Brand,
Secret,
right? Which is Victoria's Secret and Limited and some other. He's a wealthy guy. And all of a sudden, Epstein has this money flowing. Even the house that he lives at that was raided recently, he doesn't own it. Les Wexner gave it to him basically for nothing. But they're both on the deed now, right? I can't remember. Did you read that? I can't remember what it was. At any rate, the guy's just a fraud. And he was getting people bringing them in, doing what's called brownstoning, which is when you get somebody to come in, you drug them or you drink them up, and you bring in a young lady. You tell them, don't worry, she's 18, she's legal, but she's not, whatever it is. And then you take videos of them. That was his business.
Yeah, that is the business. But like the Playboy Mansion too, it was meant to be similar, where they would use adult bunnies, of course, And then once, oh my God, I just realised the White Rabbit connection there, possibly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Put in adult girls, and then once the guy was, relaxed or asleep or drugged or whatever, just swap it with a child, and then say, "Oh, look what you were doing," and the guy would be like, "I don't remember that. No, I didn't do that." "Yeah, you did."
Yeah.
And now I've got you by the balls.
Yes.
So,
and it's not just money; it's power.
It is.
They take these people in powerful positions. They brownstone them. They now have the blackmail on them, and now they're owned. They have to do whatever they're told, or this is all going to come out.
That's it. And they're so afraid of their pride and their reputation that they will do literally whatever is necessary, even kill, to protect their reputation.
Protect their lives also. I mean, if this kind of stuff comes out, they're going to jail. They're going to jail. They're going to be afraid they might tell some, try to get off and get some more information out. And like what possibly happened with Epstein, they're probably dead. I mean, you really get stuck in it. And I'm not saying that these people are so clean and shiny and all that, because they wouldn't have done this to start off with. No. But that's when we need to look at the spying part. And one of the reasons I think that's really spot on is I listen to talk radio here that's very mainstream media, very liberal, left, screaming constantly about impeaching Trump and going on and on about what a horrible racist he is and all that. So it's just like I want to get the other side. And one fellow called into one of the hosts who's very much one of the most successful Democrat kind of left kind of guy, whose last name happens to be Rothman, which I think is curious. But a guy called in and asked him, "Have you ever heard of this guy named Robert David Steele?" And Rothman says, "No, I don't know who that is. Who is that?" And in case you don't know, he's an ex or CIA. Do they ever stop being CIA? He was a SEAL, a Navy SEAL. And he talks about a lot of exposing truth. Some people says once CIA, always CIA. He might be playing us, but I think he might be legit because the things he's come up with so far, at any rate, really seem. He's got an ego, but it seems like he's got some good information.
Big ego.
So yeah. So the guy who called in said, he was this ex-spy and all that. And I saw a thing where he was saying that Epstein is actually a Mossad spy. And their host usually lets the people who call in speak a little bit. But in this case, he interrupted right away. He goes, "Oh, I think you can dismiss that. What we really need to be focusing on is Trump's involvement in this." And the guy went on, "Well, he was CIA. He could have information." He goes, "No, we don't want to even look at that. Silly. Just move along. Let's do this is what's really important. Let's take you over here." And that's the point where I went, he's working really hard to keep that off the air.
That's interesting.
Which led me to go try to find videos of Robert David Steele talking about Epstein. And I did find one, and he did say, "Yep, he's Mossad." It's kind of been known in the background for some time. He also said that Epstein has agreed already to share everything he has. It's already been done. And that's why he said that's why they tried to take them out. They tried to take him out because
I wonder
he's
about
going to
that.
sing.
Well, is that going to make a difference? Or, the Q stuff seems to say we have it all. We have it all anyway. So,
right, but how do you get it admissible in court? Remember, Q also says, how do you get this to be admissible in court?
Well, with the
It
Nexium,
has to be part of
when the Nexium case happened, the laptop, the famous laptop, was used as part of the evidence, Wiener's laptop, which means that it can all be used for other things. So whether this trial does the same thing by pulling in information that can then be used for millions of other trials, this will be interesting to see what else that they pull out of it. Yeah.
Well, the other thing about Epstein is when they raided Epstein's house, they also found in his safe piles of cash, diamonds, and a passport with his face on it, but a different name, and saying he lives in Saudi Arabia. So this, I think, can be a much broader, can have a much broader reach or potential of reach to finding things than the Nexium. I think the Nexium, will go this far, and this is going to take it even further.
Yeah, and the Nexium is connected. He is connected to the Bronfman family as well.
Yes.
From a long, long time ago, back around his school time, I think. I will find I know I've got a video of with a blonde lady who has a wonderful way of recapping it all and looking at all those connections between Nexium, the Bronfmans, the Les Wexner, as you're saying. She's got a really, really good layout for that, so I'll link that one below. You can read a bit more about it.
Quite the spider web.
Yeah, and the Saudi Arabia one's interesting. So links to Israel, links to Saudi Arabia, links to England's royal family. It's just extraordinary. Extraordinary. So if we can keep them alive, I put on Facebook the other day, he feels like the Linchpin. And by accident, I actually wrote it with a lynch with an L-Y. And then I thought, actually, that's very appropriate. But of a huge ring of varying degrees of perversion. But you pull him out of the middle and, oh my God, how many is it going to expose? Are they going to get arrested? All these sealed indictments that have been sitting there in America, not necessarily just for Americans, but for people around the world. Right. Maybe this is a real major step. So Nexium was the first step. This might be the second one. And looking into all those other little things that we mentioned at the beginning, like, the Mafia arrests, coming across all these drugs. A lot of those things were probably there before, but they just weren't being stopped. They weren't being hindered. And now we're starting to get things cleaned up. Maybe other countries also are cleaning up. They're just not being so vocal about it because not every country has a queue. But maybe there are other countries, one by one, that are slowly cleaning up their act and are able to grab hold of these large amounts of drugs and weapons and human traffickers. So many different, are being captured and arrested in groups, little groups here, cleaning up. We are cleaning up the world. So even though this looks like a disaster, an awful thing, it's fantastic. It is what we need to clean it up. You can't just make it disappear. These people need to be made accountable, and that is happening. It's on the way.
Yes. And one of the reasons, if we look at it from a spiritual point of view, that it's able to have this cleanup is because there's so much more light, so much in high frequency cosmic spiritual energy coming into the planet. And it's just flushing it away. The image I saw that we discussed last time was waves coming from the sun and just blowing off chunks of black crud off our planet.
Right.
So, try not to get caught up in the drama, the emotions. Make sure you're asking, is this mine? The other good question, of course, is what's right about this, which takes us to, it's being cleaned up. Those of you who are already at the place where you've been aware of this, you've processed a lot of it out, this is where you get to step up. As we've mentioned it so many times, other people are going to be going, oh my God, did you hear about that? I'm so freaked out. So this is where you can say, yeah, I did know about that. And be a calm place where they can discharge those emotions and not bounce back and forth, but just, oh, you get it. You're hearing me. Oh, thank you. It's so upsetting.
It is, but continue to push. This is fantastic. Yes. It's a cleanup. It's a good thing. Yeah. I was thinking also what you were saying about the waves hitting, even though we don't think we can see them, but you can look plainly at the sun. It does not look the same as what it was when we were kids. It's very much lighter here now, and even though that's a physical thing, there is more to it than that, and there are more of us that are all kind of raising in kind of psychic abilities, you might say, so that you can get to the point where you look at something, whether it's on the news or someone's telling you personally, face to face, and you'll go, no, that doesn't ring true to me, or that person's lying. I can see it straight away, and you all of these little hunches will start coming about to more and more and more people. So that you'll get to the point where when news media say, well, this is what's happened. And, one mentioned to me the other day, well, Clinton said that he only used those planes for the Clinton Foundation. I'm like, well, you've got to, how many more people are going to go, yeah, you tried this on us before. You said, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. And we found you out. That's not the case. So more people are going to pick up on that, which is great, because then that means we cannot be fooled. Whereas you hone those skills, you cannot be fooled so much. One little thing I wanted to drop in before we go was Kenneth Starr. who did the huge, very detailed report on the sexual relations between Clinton and Lewinsky. He has come back up. He's popped back up. And I think he is now on the defense team for Epstein. Interesting, yeah. So I'm kind of wondering if, and you think about Epstein, Clinton, right? He attacks Clinton, but he defends Epstein. So how does that work? I'm kind of wondering if this attack on Clinton, do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If that whole Kenneth Starr report on Clinton and Lewinsky was designed, because it was in great gory detail. It was a massively long document getting right down to the, there was semen here, and you can imagine it just looked like he must have sat there dribbling for weeks writing this thing. That maybe the whole thing was... Dribbling, literally, yeah. It was very detailed. I remember when it came, I didn't read the whole thing, but I just kind of thought, has this guy got no life? Really? Has he got nothing better to do? Has he got no one to play with? But I kind of wonder if by putting all that detail into the Lewinsky thing, he was kind of satisfying the public that that's all he was to learn.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm wondering. That was during his presidency.
There's all this. Look at all these fluffy details. Yeah. I heard about this. Don't notice that.
That's it. Gory details about one adult woman. Shocking. He cheated on his wife. And that's it for the public. They're like, that's all he's been so detailed in his investigation. There can't possibly be anything else. I kind of wonder if that was a setup so that nobody would look any further.
So just one setup on the other side, though, is people are, of course, saying, and this guy Acosta, he let Epstein go, and then Trump appointed him to Secretary of Labor. He's in on it, too. And then I thought, wait a minute, if Acosta wasn't in this position, probably the mainstream media would hardly even be looking at this. They just think, this is a way to get at Trump. Let's fluff it up. Let's hold our attention because of Acosta. Otherwise, they probably would have not even looked at it. They would have totally swept it under the rug as much as possible.
Desperately looking for connections, and yet the only thing that I know of is that, yes, he did know him many, many, many years ago, but once he found out that he was trying to take on the daughter of one of his employees at the golf club, a young underage girl, he chucked Epstein out of his golf club.
I did see online legal documents to prove that. So, sounds like it's true.
Yeah, like he stepped away. I mean, if you look at all of us and say, well, you said this 20 years ago, so you have to kind of go, well, yeah, but I've learnt more since then and I've changed my mind. You've got to be able to, you can't pin people just because they happen to know somebody 20 years ago. Right. You cannot assume that suddenly makes them a frequent visitor to an island, 6 months ago. It's just... speculation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's all good news.
It is.
Doesn't always seem like it, but it's all good news. We are going forward. We're cleaning this planet up, and we're going to bring the new Earth here really fast. It's speeding up so quickly.
The more excited we get about it, the faster it happens.
Yeah, it's happening.
It is. All righty. Okay.
Thanks
so we'll
for
see you
joining
next week.
Bye.
Bye.